And we are live again, another Tuesday with my great friend Larry Johnson. Larry, how are you doing, man?
Man, the time is flying by. I thought it was, just December, New Year's, and all. Boom, here we are, end of February, and you're still in Brazil, huh? Italy,
Yeah,
Italy
taking
misses
take.
you.
Yeah, I don't miss the gas bills for heating the
Yeah,
house.
but
I probably
you
it
got to
probably
keep a
would
little
have
heat.
paid my
I mean, you got to
yeah
keep a little heat going in the house, otherwise the pipes are going to freeze, and you're going to have a massive plumbing bill.
yeah where I live. It's hard to go below zero. It's hard to go under five even. And it's a building, so the house keeps slightly warmed,
Yeah, yeah.
slightly. And I have good neighbors. I have decent neighbors that check the house every now and then for me,
Okay, good.
so people do not invade it. Yeah, and well, yeah, Larry. I Since I started the channel, I've been saying one little thing: we are on World War III, and this week we have kind of confirmation from none other than Zelensky talking about this. What do you
No,
think from this?
no, you froze up there. None other than who?
Than Zelensky himself
Oh,
talking about yeah. We are on World War III.
yeah.
What do you take from this, Larry?
Well, he's not totally insane.
Should I go with we said so? I think we said so. It's a nice start for a quote.
Yeah, or you can say, "Hey, I told you." This is um, the the path. There is no clear path forward to peace. The roads all seem to lead towards a war expanding in Ukraine, because Europe is insisting that it's not going to let it go, and so they are provoking Russia dangerously so now. They're talking about providing Ukraine with a nuclear weapon. If that happens, there will be tactical nuclear weapons unleashed on Europe. And Europe, as we know it, will cease to exist. And then you've got the United States its planned attack on Iran. It's not going to back off. They're not seeking a peace agreement. It's all a charade. So, the future, the wars and rumors of wars, that's going to continue, and it's going to expand, unfortunately.
Yeah, Larry. This week we had the Wolf Witkoff talking about that he's kind of puzzled. Why haven't the run capitulated? And he used the word capitulated.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
What is in the mind of the of United States establishment to believe that the country should simply capitulate?
well, this was. I mean, I found that extremely useful and insightful, because it tells you what Trump is thinking. They didn't. This movement of planes, because it's a movement of air power. There are no troops in motion. The naval presence is actually not that formidable. You have one functioning aircraft carrier. The other that they sent, Gerald Ford. Have you seen what's going on board on the Gerald Ford? The plumbing's broke. There is shit floating inside the ship. I mean, human waste, nothing more disgusting. So basically, you can't take a shit on the ship. I mean, but boy, we're going to defeat Iran. Yeah, they're going to have sailors' asses hanging over the edge of the carrier deck, shitting in the Mediterranean, for God's sake. So, forget about the naval power. So they've moved all these air assets. Now, here's what doesn't make sense. They've moved a third of the F-35s in the air. The Air Force has like 20. It's estimated to 21 to 24 squadrons. Each squadron is supposed to have 24 F-35s. 7 of those squadrons, at least, have been deployed now to Jordan and to King Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. Okay. The distance, and hang on, let me just double check. I want to see what the distance is from Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia to Tehran. What do you know offhand what that distance is?
No, I'm checking here in maps.
From Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia to Tehran. Okay, so the difference from the Prince Sultan Air Base, where that's where a large number of these U.S. aircraft are located, to Tehran, is 800 to 900 miles. Okay, the combat radius of the F-35 means it can fly out and then fly back without having to refuel. That combat radius is 600 miles. In other words, it can fly 300 miles towards Iran, then it has to turn around and come back if it hopes to be able to not run out of fuel. Otherwise, if it's going to make the trip all the way to Tehran, the F-35, it's going to need air refueling. Well, that means you got to bring in air tankers over the territory of Iran. Iran will shoot them down. We've been told in the past that Israeli F-35s were flying into Iran. No, they weren't. I mean, this right here, the distance limitations on it prove it. And if they're at Muwafaq Salti Air Base in Jordan, hell, it's even farther. It's now like about 1,600 miles. That's another 800 miles from there to get into Iran. So you're deploying all this air power that doesn't really have the ability to reach into too far into Iran. And they're talking about suppressing enemy air defense. Well, that's great if it's all out on the coast, but it's not. It's inland as well. That it is in and around Tehran. I would like someone to explain to me. There. Yeah, but I would like someone to explain to me how aircraft that have only a 600-mile range, which means they can fly 300 miles in one direction before they have to turn around and go home, so they're really limited to 300, maybe 450 miles, are going to suppress enemy air defense that's 800 miles away. How does that work? It doesn't. So this is, when we start off talking about Witkoff, this entire employment of force, we now know, was simply an intimidation tactic because it was not accompanied by an actual fully developed plan of attack, how these air assets were going to be employed in a practical way. What's the mission? To do a strike that's going to kill the Ayatollah or the political leadership or the military leadership? We've been fed this lie about the what Israel did during the 12-day war, claiming that it was doing it with planes. It wasn't planes. There may have been some long-distance drones, but a lot of it was done with sabotage from within. So a lot of those elements are now dead or in prison. So this Trump he thought he could do the intimidation tactic. That didn't work. And that's where Witkoff is really sort of puzzled and surprised. They thought it would. So what happens next? I think Trump is under enormous pressure to attack Iran, and he will. But we've already seen now that General Dan Kane, they calls him Raisin Kane, he is out, being quoted not directly, but he's sending surrogates out to talk to the Washington Post, to talk to the Wall Street Journal, to tell them, hey, we're not. General Kane has told President Trump that this is really dangerous. This is highly risky. There's no guarantee of success. We're going to take casualties. We don't have enough weapons. We've already drained the cupboards. The cupboards are bare. So he's now laying out the case. I think he even knows that the attack is going to come, and when it comes and fails, he's going to be able to point to Trump. Say, I told you so. I told him not to do it, but he ignored my advice. That's where this is headed.
Yeah, this is a very important mentioning that you just did, because I was reading your Substack. Well, let's call it Substack now. Let's not call it blog anymore. Sonar21.com, which, by the way, people, remember to like, share, subscribe the video to this channel. And follow Larry on Sonar21.com, where you can find all the videos that he produces, not only himself, but also in other, podcasts like this one, and other even better, which I doubt. But yeah, some of them are slightly better than this one. And you point out this, there is some communication to Donald Trump that perhaps this is not a good idea. And also you mentioned the pizza index, which has been going up and down recently, which usually, the pizza index, for those that doesn't know, is an index of how busy pizza parlors are around the Pentagon. So it means that people are working over hours and ordering pizza. The pizza index is going up and down, and we have this major buildup, and now the moon just changed.
Well, yeah,
let's
deal with the moon issue. Okay, so Air Force planners they've got in the habit of planning combat missions under the cover of darkness. They want cover of darkness if they can do so. Now, I'm not saying that it's sort of foolish, because the reality is, with modern air defense systems and radars, etc., they can see through the dark. So darkness, this is not like 30, 35 years ago, where actually darkness, being able to operate under the cover of darkness, was important tactically. There's no longer, that's no longer really should be a thing, but it is. So, but the fact that that's what the military planners want, doesn't mean that Trump's going to listen to them. The two key things to look for, to know that an attack is likely to happen within 24 hours, is the drawdown of non-essential personnel, both civilian and military, civilian from embassy, military from military facilities. If you start seeing, if you will, a massive evacuation or departure on that scale, that tells you something's coming. Number two, the issuance of NOTAMs, which are notice to air missions, that's saying, the airspace in Iran is going to be closed. Nobody's going to be flying in and out of Qatar, et cetera. We're not seeing those two things yet. We're seeing there's been apparently some departure out of Lebanon, but beyond that, nothing in Dubai, nothing in Qatar, nothing in Riyadh, nothing in Doha. So until we start seeing that, I'd say the attack is not imminent. However, Trump is under enormous pressure to do so. He's also getting pressure from the likes of J.D. Vance and Tulsi Gabbard not to do it. Reported that Tucker Carlson went to the White House yesterday to warn Trump not to do it. But, we'll see what he does.
Yeah, that was about my question. Do you think that there are probably some? God bless you.
Excuse me.
Do you think that no at all? Do you think there is probably some military, high rank struggles, and you have like this General King, just shooting out "I told you so's," and there are probably others that are very interested in the military action. I would see this, an indication that the pizza index is going up and down, So people go to work and then they say, no, hold on.
Well,
Then they go again and they go, hold on.
The reason, the reason for the pizza index, and it doesn't just apply to the Pentagon, it also they've been monitoring the pizza joints that are on Del Mabry Road in Tampa, just outside of MacDill Air Force Base. They set up a week ago Friday the CAT, the Crisis Action Team. So you have an operations center and it becomes a crisis action team where it's 24/7. So it's always staffed. I think they're going like 7 in the morning to 7 p.m. at night, 0700 to 1900 hours every day, and then from 1900 to 0700. You've got every Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps is represented there. You've got the intelligence, INSCOM, Defense Intelligence Agency, Central Intelligence Agency is represented there as well. National Security Agency, which provides signal intelligence. So you've got an intelligence sector, you got a sector that deals with logistics, you got a sector that deals with plans and operations. So this is to monitor what's going on real time, to make sure that the assets that have been ordered to move to the area are moving, to deliver orders from the president. So that's been underway since a week ago Friday. It's not the kind of thing you can sustain over a long period of time, because then it really puts stress and strain on the personnel that are staffing it, because you've gone from a normal 8-hour day to you got 12 on, 12 off, and they've particularly the night shift guys, they have it the worst, because you have to, you get off in the morning and you try to get some sleep during daylight, and then you're back at work at 7 p.m. So, that's sort of the behind the scenes activity. But this, right now, we've got a loaded gun. We've got the hammer cocked back, ready to fire. All we got to do is the order's got to come down to fire. And so far, Trump has not issued that order.
Do you think that he could be waiting for his speech on the national, what's it called?
Oh, the State of the Union, which is tonight.
The State of the Union.
No,
yeah, exactly.
He's not. I'm not sure that. That may have played a role in not attacking prior to this, but again, the reason in looking back, and I should have said this, when this whole deployment started, the fact that you've not had the NOTAMs and you've not had the departure personnel means there is no attack ready to happen. So with the timing, he's now said 10 days. Maybe he'll give them 10 days. Maybe he'll give them less. But he's not going to launch that attack without the NOTAMs and without drawing down as non-essential personnel from embassies, particularly in Baghdad, because Ali Sistani, the Ayatollah in Baghdad, as well as Muqtada al-Sadr, they've all made claims that if Iran is attacked, they're going to go after U.S. targets. That means they'll go after the U.S. embassy.
Exactly. Larry, you made a fantastic video that you just shared today or yesterday.
Yeah, last night.
Last night, exactly. Talking about the lies about Iran that Western media and, well, whoever more has been feeding the West. I will, invite everybody to watch this video, fantastic video produced on Counter Currents channel, which is Larry's basically podcast as well, where he also he mostly produced his own videos, but also great interviews with fantastic people there. Larry, tell us about these lies that we've been fed for so long, because what I see is everywhere. I'm in Brazil right now, also in Italy. When I live there, I see people are completely moronic about Asia, West Asia, well, around the world. People just buy bullshit, daily bullshit. Please tell us a little bit about these lies and the actual situations.
Yeah, well, it's the three lies are: one, that Iran is the number one sponsor of terrorism in the world. Not true. Absolutely not true. And the fact, and it goes back even to the founding of Iran in 1979. Since 1979, over 80% of the terrorist attacks in the world have been carried out by Sunni groups that are funded by Gulf Arabs like the Saudis, the Qataris, the Emiratis, and the Kuwaitis. And overwhelming. Number two, that the proxies, the countries, particularly Hamas and Hezbollah, that are accused of being major terrorist organizations, they are not. The Israeli Foreign Ministry has recorded every attack by Palestinians against Israelis or foreign visitors to Israel since August of 2000. What that database shows, they didn't organize it. They just list by year what happened. I went through and put it into order. 672 terrorist attacks over a 25-year period. Of those 672, only 105 were attributed to Hamas. 5 were attributed to Hezbollah. So not even the number of actual attacks correspond to the wild claims that Hamas and Hezbollah are these bloodthirsty terrorist organizations. The number of dead Israelis at the hands of Hezbollah is fewer than 800 over that time period. So that's the first big. Those are the first two big lies, and the last big lie is this false story is being pushed that there is enormous opposition, overwhelming opposition to the rule of the mullahs. 80% of the people want the Ayatollah to go. Well, that's based upon a poll that was produced by a business based in the Netherlands called Gaman, and Siphon VPN in Canada. Well, it turns out those two have been funded indirectly, but funded nonetheless by the U.S. government through National Endowment for Democracy and by USAID. So what it is they're creating a false narrative that the Ayatollah is wildly unpopular, and ignoring the fact that actually the support for the government has grown in the last 8 months as a result of the attacks by Israel and the United States on Iran, starting June 13th of last year, and then the most recent outburst that was sponsored by and funded by the United States, the protests that erupted on December 28th and then were halted by Iran on January 10th.
Yeah, and I found very interesting that the guy that is responsible by these studies is called Amar Maleki. Maleki.
Yeah,
is that so? Maleki.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, he's a professor in the Netherlands. So,
why not?
Got a runny nose
No,
today.
don't worry, man. You're at home. If we were here, we were having coffee and cake.
Yes.
Larry, I want to get out of Iran's situation, but I think it's the point of interest at the moment. And I find very interesting this situation with Tucker Carlson. He went to Israel. He was invited by a senior. Who is the guy? I forgot the name of the guy.
The ambassador, Mike Huckabee.
The ambassador, exactly.
That was a week ago today. A week ago today.
Exactly. On his way out, he was stopped and, interviewed by the Israeli forces and probably lectured about whatever.
He wasn't. Let's be clear what happened. I mean, a lot of this has been misreported. He was there with his producer and two other staff members. And when they went to leave, I guess the two staff members had actually gone into Israel, stayed at a hotel. They'd gotten there a day before to help set things up. And then they were back, and they were taken then from, they were with Tucker. They were taken and interrogated, those two. And Tucker, demanded that they be released, and ultimately they were released. His producer as well, a fellow named Patel, he was also subjected to questioning. So, but they didn't detain Tucker.
Okay. And do we have any reports from Tucker about whatever he produced there, interviewed or got to knowledge to anything? We know that he'd been to the White House, so probably he learned something.
What you've not seen the video interview he did with Mike Huckabee?
Not yet.
Yeah, apparently not. Yeah, you need to watch that because that, in the course of that interview with Huckabee, who is an ardent Christian Zionist, he puts the interests of Israel above those of the United States, in my view. He made the statement that basically, because Tucker was pressing him on the concept of the Zionist concept, and Zionism is such an odd thing because it's predicated on a religious belief, a belief in a supreme deity, they'll call it God, and that this God had made a special promise to a guy named Abraham, and that he would, he'd have, multitudes would come from him. Okay, well, so basically you're trying to say that most of the world population today came from Abraham? That no, but that special promise included giving Abraham the land from the Nile to the Euphrates. And so Tucker was saying, well, if you're basing your belief that passage of Scripture, that passage in the Torah and in what the Christians call the Old Testament, if that's true, then does that mean that Israel's entitled to all this land? And Huckabee goes, yeah. Well, that land includes Jordan, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. So within 24 hours of him saying that, the Gulf Arabs, or every single country in what we'll call the Middle East, West Asia, wrote a furious message to Donald Trump. So the signatories included Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, al-Shaddad, who's a big U.S. buddy, Erdogan of Turkey, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and then Indonesia. So, boy, just furious. And that's relevant because the United States has got aircraft based in Jordan and in Saudi Arabia. And literally the anger was such that was reflected in that letter. They very well could turn around and say, you're not going to be able to use our territory. Sorry. So that was the importance of what Tucker did. Huckabee just really he angered infuriated the entire Arab Muslim world.
Yeah, I've watched some other quotes from this guy before, and he's just a moron. He's a crazy moron, crazy moron with some power. That's extremely dangerous person.
No, he's
opinion.
He's a religious fanatic and has adopted I'm strongly anti-Zionist, and there are those who want to argue that if you're anti-Zionist, you're anti-Semitic. No, this has nothing to do with being against Jews, but it is against this concept that Jews are a special people and entitled to more consideration and power than any other person. I believe that God, I do believe in the supreme deity. I believe a supreme deity created all people, not just some, but all. And therefore, all must be treated as creations of God. But this Zionism it's just a form of ethno-supremacy, no different from Nazism or any other ism where you select people based upon either racial characteristics or ideological characteristics, and to the exclusion of all others. Hello, you still there? You froze. Marcelo, come back. Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
Did I mention that the internet sucks here?
Yeah.
Anytime in my life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, man. Even with StreamYard, you see, I'm giving this duck his opportunity to shine, and internet sucks.
Yep.
Man. Okay, let's move. I'm pretty sure you described the Zionist sentiment, because I know
Right.
it's always good to listen to that. And I know a guy with a mustache some time ago that had some type of sentiment that is very, very like this. The superiority of a race or whatever. So let's. I would like to move to Mexico, dude. The hell is going on there just near you?
Yeah, you don't want to move to Mexico, man. It's too dangerous right now. We can talk about. We can talk about it, but no me voy. No me voy.
I'm gonna tell you a quick story that there's a TV show, very old TV show called El Chavo. Which was made in Mexico, and it was extremely popular during my youth here in Brazil. It was about a poor boy and a villa, a place where people live. It was nice. It was very ingenious and funny and stuff like that. So there's this episode in Acapulco, in a very good hotel in Acapulco for the time. And when I got married, we wanted to go to our honeymoon in Acapulco, but it was even cheaper than what we did here in Brazil. But we end up saying, we won't have enough time, and perhaps in another opportunity. Later on, we met some Mexicans. We have Mexican friends from Acapulco, and they said, "Dude, that place is a war zone. Forget about it. No, don't go there." And now we're having this, breaking out of a war zone again in Mexico, a cartel war zone. Do you think this has anything related to United States willing to intervene in Mexico somehow?
No. The United States is trying to control and trying to wield influence, and Sheinbaum has, proven herself to be a whore, doing what the U.S. tells her to do. But this was this is what I call the misguided kingpin program. You operate on the assumption that you can kill your way out, get rid of these top guys, and the organizations go away. They're not going away. There's too much money involved. So this is a leadership change, a violent leadership change. And I suspect what's likely to happen is, they'll fight and kill each other, the government and the cartels. And then there'll be negotiations behind the scenes. Head of the army will get paid off. Government will get paid. Scheinbaum will get money. Foreign ministry will get money. Just, the cartel will pay its taxes, so to speak, and they'll continue to operate. They'll be back to business as usual. And there'll be people paid off in the United States as well. They've got this all wrong, thinking all we've got to do is deal with the leaders. Don't deal. If you take the money, go after the money. And now I'm freezing. But go after the money, and you'll take care of, you'll end the drug trade. Because that's what this is all about. It's low cost of goods sold. It's cheap to produce. Man, no overhead and enormously profitable. Until you cut off the money, this is going to continue, and it will not stop.
Yeah, that's. But is this any worrisome to the United States at some level? Now talking about the other way around, because now there's a war exploding there. A drug war exploding there. So do you think this could cause mass migrations and, more going into the country to finance the war?
The United States should be concerned about it, but we're not up to this point. We've strengthened the border, so cutting the ability of people, even if they show up on the other side, they're not getting through. But look, this drug war has been going on in Mexico for a good 25 years. So it's not, it's not going away anytime soon. I said it's about the money. There's too much money at play here, which is, we think it's a good God. No, actually, I take that back. It's been going on 40 years.
At least 40 years.
Yeah, go back to Kiki Camarena when, he was kidnapped and murdered. Yeah, so it's 40 years. So it's just like we need to stop kidding ourselves.
Yeah, I remember all the wars, the news when I was very young. So
yeah,
it's probably about 4 years, give or take. Larry, about Ukraine now, we discussed that Zelensky said that we are on World War III, but how's the situation on the front lines? I find very interesting that this week we had 2 strikes deep inside Russia that are being attributed to that Flamingo, whatever is the name of it.
2? Where did you get 2? I've only heard of 1.
There was another one today, so perhaps it's slightly recent.
Well, the other one took
place. It was
place
a very small one.
Yesterday, day before yesterday.
Exactly. Yes.
And
the first
when
one.
did the other one take place?
I think this afternoon.
Today?
The afternoon in Moscow. Yeah, today.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. I've got RT on. They're not reporting anything.
It has been very limited damage, nonetheless. But how do you take this? This do you believe that this is really this Flamingo stuff going all the way to Russia?
Whatever it is, it's been done with the assistance of the Brits and the Americans, and so it's now we're going to see if Russia is going to react and strike outside of Ukraine, strike at the UK, strike at the United States. I think they'll probably shy away from hitting the United States for now, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them launch a strike with an Oreshnik on a factory in the UK. I think Russia would be well within its rights to do that, or to specifically continue. They've been targeting British officers that have been operating inside Ukraine and killing them, according to one channel, is called Boriskman. But I've seen no other corroboration of that. So I don't know if it's just if he's telling a story or if it's the actual truth.
We also saw that there was some kind of counteroffensive from Ukraine.
Well,
but
Ukraine
actually
that's
happening.
no, that's the Ukraine propaganda channel. They're not. They're Ukraine is retreating. They're not advancing.
Perhaps they are advancing backwards. Who knows?
Yeah, well,
They
that's what I said.
tell us that.
That's retreating.
Yeah, man, I think we have gone pretty nice 45 minutes, and I know you're extremely busy today. I think I'm going to end our conversation now. Do you think there's anything worth mentioning? I always ask that because perhaps I forgot about something.
No. I think we've covered the highlights here. We'll see. Like I said, let's see what happens. Some are predicting that Trump's going to attack Iran after the State of the Union. I don't think so now. At least we haven't seen, like I said, the precursors. When we see those precursors, no TAMs, embassy evacuations, then we'll know something's afoot. Until we see that, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm going to finish with a quote that I finally found, which is a quote attributed to General Yuri Danilov, chief of operation of Russian General Staff before World War I. And the quote is, "The Tsar sincerely desired peace, but he did not understand that the forces already set in motion were beyond his control." So I have a sequence of programs, not too many, I should do more, that are called, what's it called? Before World Wars, something like that, because it's in Portuguese. Before World War. So I basically tried to call people to analyze what was the situation in their regions, France, Poland, before the wars have started, because we give that are not real triggers. The war was already there. When we look at this, fires exploding everywhere, it really looks to me that we are already on the state of non-kinetic world war.
Well, yeah,
we should be.
We're in a de facto world war. It's just the fighting hasn't yet spread globally in a way that the United States is suffering consequences, or Europe. But I'm afraid that day will come.
Yeah, or at least not too perceptive consequences.
Yeah.
Consequences are happening.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people are not willing to understand those. So, Larry, thank you very much once again, my good friend. I would like to remind everybody to follow Larry on sonar21.com and on Countercurrents and everywhere where he appears, which you're going to find on sonar21.com, his amazing Substack, where basically every day he posts some amazing articles. And like, share, subscribe to these channels, the Press of Mass Destruction and Countercurrents. And let's see you next week. Thank you very much, my good friend.
Hit that like and subscribe button. All right. Thanks. Take care, Marcelo. Ciao.
Take care. Bye-bye.